I've seen quite a few people do webinars, do YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. And so many people just have so much energy, they just pour right into the camera. And I was thinking, I need to do that. I need to have all that energy and just really push it and just make it exciting. Or, hey, I've got great news and just really go at it. And I'm not like that. I just, hats off to them. That's the way they operate, and that's the way they are in their own skin. That's great. I'm not gonna worry about trying to compete with that. I'm just gonna be who I am, and just kind of share with you kind of what's going on in the world of online marketing, SEO, all that kind of stuff. I want to welcome you to the Four Winds Agency webinar. We are going to talk about the end of Google My Business, and that is a noun, not a verb. So I just want to share with you what's going on so you can be better prepared. I will do a recap of Google My Business and its evolution, what it means for your business listing, how to manage it moving forward, and what the new features are. My name is Richard Blount. I am the founder and CEO of Four Winds Agency. We are a full-service online marketing agency. We build beautiful websites, but if people aren't finding them, what good are they? So we stay on top of the best SEO practices and keep up to date with the latest news. But why do we focus on Google? Well, for the past 11 years, being tracked, Google has been averaging about 86%. Between 86 and 92% of all internet searches are done on Google. They've maintained this consistently. The others being Yahoo, Baidu, I think that's how you say it, they make up the remaining part of it. So we focus on Google. They are the benchmark, the standard, and so that's who we pay attention to. So whether you realize it or not, you've seen a Google business business listing if you've done a Google search. They're usually on the right hand side of the web browser when you do a search. Over on the right hand side, you'll see a listing similar to what I've got on here, or you might have seen it in what was referred to as a 3-pack, and that is when someone is doing a search for a local business, Google will serve up a little map and the 3 top recommendations that Google has for that searcher. And so, and they would have, they include the location, all the things that people are usually looking for. Google tries to just package it up and make it easy for them to find the location, phone number, website, hours of operation, ratings, all that kind of stuff. So businesses have been taking advantage of this free service. I've done a good job of capitalizing on the free exposure that Google has given them through this. I mean, without even going to the website, Google is showing up some of the more pertinent information. But with their latest announcement, they're going to be adding even more features, including, well, let me back up a little bit. They'll be adding more things. On November 4th, Google announced that they were going to be changing the name, the accessibility, and the features of Google My Business. So the Google My Business console and the app will be phased out in 2022. If you did not know there was an app, it was pretty useful. Instead of having to sign in to the console, you could just go to the app on the phone and update hours, posts, specials, images, things like that just kept the listing active and engaging. Google likes to see activity with so many people adding new websites to the internet. If something's not active, Google just starts to kind of disregard it or whatever. So anyway, so what is Google changing its name to? it will be changed to Google Business Profile. Clever, isn't it? I think they've been clever. Google Local, yeah, that makes sense. I don't think it was really descriptive. And Google My Business, so many people thought that that was a verb, not a noun. So I'm glad that they just kind of went with what made sense. It's a Google Business Profile. It is a Google Business Profile. And I think I keep mixing up my words and I call it a Google Business Listing, but it's a Google Business Profile. And the reason why they are changing the name when they announced it was to just to simplify the naming and keeping things simple. And so this is definitely simple, and it's not where it started out. In 2004, Google launched Google Local. That was its first iteration of this. And it was released as a better solution to the common business listing directories, such as the Yellow Pages. So back in 2004, a lot of this was really new. It combined, the Google Local combined the name, address, phone number, um, maybe a map, stuff like that. All that was included in there. And then Google, the following year, Google Local and Google Maps merged into Google Local. So on our end, we really didn't see a whole lot change. It was just still Google Local, but there was more functionality that was added to it. And it stayed that way for a while, minor updates here and there. But in 2011, it evolved into Google Places. So Google Places was their name that they were going with the new features. And then there was that whole experiment with to compete with social media. I don't know if you remember this, but it was called Google Plus. And they incorporated Google Plus Places, Google Plus Pages, Google Plus Local, and Google Plus Business. It was all jumping back and forth between one and the other. At times, multiple platforms were active during the same 3-year period, and some of them were managed separately. So with so many changes going on in such a short amount of time, it was confusing and difficult for a local business to keep up. So finally, in 2014, Google packaged everything up and labeled it as Google My Business. So, and it's been like that for 7 years. And but over the past year, they've been in the background. You may have noticed it, you may not have noticed it, but they have been making some of the changes that they wanted to make in preparation for and this new launch that they are doing. So they wanted to make it easier to use and more accessible, and all in timing for the rebranding to Google Business Profile. So, why does all this matter? How important is a Google Business Profile when showing up in a local search? Well, when doing a search for a local business, there are ranking factors that Google uses in order to serve up a listing that best meets the choices or the requirements or what people are looking for when they're looking for something local. So I can go over these if you would like. I hope you would like, because I put together a little demonstration of why these things matter. The Google Business Profile accounts for 33% of the ranking factors that Google considers when people are doing a local search. So it's a pretty good chunk. And then the next factor that Google looks at are the reviews, especially Google reviews. So a company needs to be proactive in soliciting reviews from its customers. Some great ideas are to put a link to their Google review console, for them to on an invoice or receipt. So when the business is doing, when a customer gets a receipt from a business, if it has a little call to action like, hey, if you had great service, please let us know on Google reviews, and then there's like a little link there for them to share. Either they could also follow up with emails for other types of services. You could even text the link for people to use. If a company is doing e-newsletters, they can be included in that as well. So there's a lot of different ways that a company can be proactive in searching for or collecting reviews from its customers. The next factor that Google looks at is on-page SEO. Some people just think of it as SEO, which is short for search engine optimization. So you'll hear it referred to in different ways, but on-page SEO is a little bit more concise in talking about that these are things that are done to the actual website itself to make it more pleasing to Google, and Google understands it a little bit better. So there are things like the page titles, page descriptions, heading tags, what they are, specific keywords, the architecture of the website, relevant content to what somebody is searching for. And there's a lot of things on the back end of a website. There are customer-facing things that can be done, and then there are Google-facing things or bot-facing, because they usually use bots or spiders to scan the website and look for specific things in order to categorize a website. So there are things that can be done on the website itself to help. That accounts for 15% of what Google is looking at. Another 15% are links. And what that entails are links within the website, going back and forth in the website, how they're structured, keyword usage, and that. All those are factors, as well as inbound links and outbound or external links. Inbound links are links from other websites going to your website or to the website that Google is looking at. External links are links that are going away from your website, that are on your website that you're referring to another website. So Google looks at all three of those when coming up with that. The next thing that they look at, 8% of it is behavioral. And that's what that means is how the website behaves within the browser itself. So how fast it loads is very important. You definitely want it to be under the 2-second benchmark. It needs to be, so faster websites will get a little bit more love from Google than slower ones, mainly because with so many people looking up things on their mobile devices, if you're sitting there waiting for 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, if you're waiting 4 seconds for a website to load on your mobile device or even your desktop, chances are you're going to bail on it and look for somebody else's website, because Google's got a whole list of other websites that you can look at. You'll go to somebody else who goes faster. And Google keeps track of people that do that. And so they look at how fast the website is and how quickly somebody leaves it. And all those play a factor in it. And then the other thing is responsiveness in the website. That's another behavior that Google looks at. Back in the day, when mobile devices first came out, they would just shrink the entire screen into the size of the screen. Now what we do is we code websites so that they are responsive. So the website actually looks at the size of the screen that it's on, and then we'll rearrange the content so it fits on there better. The websites don't do that automatically. It has to be built that way. But it is one of the things that Google looks at. So behavior, like I said, that's 8% of what it's looking for. Another 7% are citations. And those aren't citations for going too fast. And I swore I wasn't going to use that joke. Really not much of a joke. But anyway, what a citation is the website name, location information, the phone number, hours of operation. Basically, it's the information you would find in a directory of business. And there are a lot of business directories on the web. So Google will look at what's listed on the Google Business Profile and compare it to what's on Facebook, what's on LinkedIn, what's on Bing, what's on Yelp, MapQuest, Yellow Pages, Angie's List, Better Business Bureau, and the list just goes on. There's dozens of business directories out there. And so it's a matter of making sure that they are all up to date and all match each other. And the better they match each other, the better off it is for rankings. It's just one of the other things. And then the last thing is personalization. And that really has nothing to do with the website whatsoever. This is how a person who searches the internet on Google has acted on Google before. So I don't know if you watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix or not, but Google keeps track of what people are doing, what their search history is. And so when people are doing a search, Google will try to match up what they already know about the person searching to what they anticipate them looking for. If you would like to test that, you can go to Google and just type in "how do I" and just wait, and it will automatically fill out some suggestions that Google has for you based on your past search history. If you'd like to do that, compare that to the person next to you, your spouse, your coworker, somebody else riding on the train with you. Just type in that and see what comes up. It's really fascinating. So that last 6% is what Google is kind of looking at. So those are all the factors. So basically 49% of the ranking factors is based on Google preferences, what is listed and how often the Google business profile is kept up to date, what people are saying on Google reviews. So that's a big part of it. So the good part is this is virtually free. Google doesn't charge for any of these services, at least not yet. And but it does require time from a business owner or company to stay on top of that and keep it going. And the bad part is it's free to the competitors as well. If they are as up to date as you are, then it all equals out. And the focus needs to start moving onto towards other parts of the website. So with everything being equal between two competitors, then the deciding factor can easily move on into the on-page SEO, the links, and the behavior of the website itself. So making sure it's fast, it's responsive, that you're taking good advantage of the keywords that you want to rank for. This equates to 38% of the ranking factors for a Google search, especially a Google local search. So, some SEO companies will focus mainly on the link part and develop strategies to get more links coming to a website. Some will focus more on the behavior, but most focus on the on-page SEO and will try to incorporate all three of these areas. And that's what we do. We focus on all three of these areas because they are all important and all part of SEO services. Because they're all important in order to stand out in front of Google. But but more importantly, it's an incentive for a business to put forth an effort to provide useful information to those who are looking for it. So because that fits more, what Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally acceptable and useful. So Google isn't trying to penalize anybody. They're not trying to penalize websites or keep anybody down. They actually want to help. And so they provide a lot of tools that could be a benefit to businesses to get their information out there so that Google can categorize it and serve it up well. They're just trying to put the right content into the right person's search results. Then where was I going with this? So just to recap, all the factors going into local ranking are important, but the Google Business Profile being the largest, 33%, so it's important to stay on top of that. Those who take advantage of it do have a leg up on the competition. If you don't have one for your business, you need to claim yours as soon as possible. And actually, in some cases, Google may have already created one for your business and it just needs to be claimed. If you haven't taken advantage of the Google Business Profile, it's never been easier to get listed and to take advantage of the free exposure that Google provides to businesses that use the service. Um, the most notable is how to claim it. It is relatively simple. And did this quick view. This was, I don't know if you can see this or not. It might be kind of small, but I was recording, going through the process of, let me pause it right there, right here. I gotta be quicker. Right there. You'll see "Own this business" with a question mark. If it is your business, then click on it. And from there, it will launch a way for you to start managing it. Now, it will ask you to verify it. So what it's going to do is it's going to use the address that's on the listing already, and all you have to do is put in a contact name, hit mail, and they will send a postcard to that address to the person in the contact name. And then if that is you, all you need to do is go back into your listing to verify it, and it will automatically it will change to what is your verification code, and then you would just put that in to the into that field, and then it would be yours to manage. So from here, I think I'm going to switch over to, oops, I didn't want to go that far. Let me back up. All right. So I just wanted to go through with this real quick because this is the way it looks now. Instead of having to go to an app or a console, you would just go right in, you would just type in your company name. I've typed in 4Winds Agency, and it brought up 4Winds Agency, your business on Google. And from here, you have options to edit the profile, promote it, or interact with customers. So let me just go through some of this real quick as we're kind of winding down a little bit. I wanted to keep this kind of short, so it's only a 30-minute. But just click on the edit profile, and then from here, it should not go blank. Let me just refresh this real quick. Edit profile. There we go. Edit business profile. So it lists out your business information, hours, products, if you have products, and photos. So just clicking on the business information, you will see it has the name, the categories. Google already has a list of categories to choose from. So it's important to designate your primary category and then your subsequent categories to go on after that. Description of what it is you provide, then coming down to the contact information, the website address, business location, service area, business hours, and these are things that you definitely want to stay on top of. For instance, we've got our holiday hours, and we're going to be closed on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. You want to keep that up to date, and Google will actually send you a reminder letting you know, hey, these holidays are coming up. Do you want to update your profile? And you just simply say, yes, I do, and you make those changes. You can go into your hours and set, if you have regular hours that you're open throughout the week, you can set that. You can set open with no main hours. So if you're a 24-hour operation, 7 days a week, you would just click on that and you'd be good to go. And then products, self-explanatory. You would just go in here. If you had any products that you sold, you would put that in here. And then it's good to have photos in here. I don't know if you've done a search on Google Maps or whatever, and especially with restaurants, people are usually uploading images of the food that they had. So that's a good tool. And then promote. This is, I talked about earlier about reviews, and right here, I went through that quick. Promote, come down here to ask for reviews. Click on that, and it will give you a link to your Facebook, Twitter. You can open up an email or just copy a link. if I click on Facebook, for example, it'll open up my Facebook, and it has already a link here. Say something um, about Four Winds Agency, and I can. It's a solicitation that I would put on either my news feed. I could share it on a friend's timeline, share it in a group, share it at an event, or a page I manage, or do it in a private message. So you have tons of options as far as that is concerned. And again, you can copy the link if you want to put it in on your website, if you want to put it inside of your email footer, things like that. Those are good. And then another great feature that you can do is look at how well it's doing. How well is the Google Business Profile doing? Under Performance, it's a great tool to see kind of an overview of how many interactions people have had with the business listing, and how many business people have viewed your business profile, and what keywords triggered it coming up. So I can look at more if I want to, but I just want to, well, actually, let me just click on that. Click on more, and it will bring up more up here. Marketing Atlanta, Four Winds Interactive, Four Winds Agency. So it'd be a fun experiment for any business to do, to kind of see. They might be surprised at what people are searching for when they end up finding them. You can add an offer if you're doing a special offer. You can put this in here. All these will show up in on the listing. So if I go and close this, over here on the right, you'll see the new Google Business Profile listing. It has a lot more information. You can make a call through this now. You can do direct messaging through the Google Business Profile. It lists out all the information it had before, and then coming down further, it showcases at least one of the reviews, and then has posts that we've done. It will list that as well. So there's a lot more that the Google Business Profile offers than it has before. So again, this is stuff they've been working on in the past, for the past year, and they're finally, as they're rolling it out, they're doing a name change to make it simpler. So I think that's the main things I kind of wanted to go over. Just let me check my notes real quick, because of there were the calls, and you can track the call history on that. Message history, you can track that as well. The whole performance part, really great addition to what Google is doing. So final minutes, I hope you found this information useful. If you would share with me kind of what you thought, if you had any questions, if there's something I went over but didn't make sense, I would love to have your feedback. Again, I probably shouldn't say this, but this is my first webinar, so it's a little bit different than standing in front of a group of people and talking. Although that is terrifying, I've gotten used to it, and now this is a different type of terrifying, because I don't know what you're going to say, especially if you're looking at this. If you're watching this a year from now, great. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. I doubt a lot of it is as useful as the next one I'll be putting out. But just to give you a little bit of information about me, I started my career back in the 80s as a graphic designer, and I built my first website in 1997, right about the time Google was first coming out. I think I beat them by maybe a few months. I enjoy the balance of art and technology. My first career was at Disney, and but it wasn't working in art. It was actually I was working in finance. So I have a great aptitude for understanding numbers, and I feel like God brought all that together at the end of 2015 when He inspired me to start this agency, and started out just doing websites and graphic design. And we have grown both in scope and staff, or team, I should say, to provide a full service online marketing. We provide websites, SEO, lead generating campaigns, graphic design and branding, email marketing, and all the tools that go in between all that stuff to make it all work. So again, if you have any questions about anything I share with you today, or questions about things I've not shared with you, just make a comment, reach out to us at fourwindsagency.us, and kind of let me know how I can help. I hope you found this enjoyable and useful. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day. God bless.